Heat records in the USA. In one of the last videos, we pointed out the miraculous effects of climate change, which, although there is supposedly one global climate, can make the weather warmer and colder, or dry and wetter at the same time. This directly touches on another topic, the issue of heat records. Hardly any other report is associated with climate change and man-made global warming as much as the soaring temperatures. The defenders of climate change usually refer to two things: the expected temperatures based on various climate models which speak of global increases of 2.3 or even 4 degrees in n years, or individual record temperatures that are absolutely shocking. But the game with record temperatures is extremely manipulative. Because of the complex global climate, or rather local climate phenomena, a record simply has to fall at some point based on statistical probability in the thousands and thousands of cities, regions, and measuring stations. That is enough to impress ordinary media consumers. After all, if 42.1 degrees are measured for the first time in a record summer in the middle of nowhere, it's hard to deny climate change. If you do dare to point out the cooler summer a year earlier, you're quickly brushed off with an argument that a single summer does not give the all-clear and the climate is all about global mean trends. This strategy dupes the unsuspecting and simply leaves those who look behind it shocked. Because it is the deliberate switching of levels to support one's own argument. If an individual record strengthens the desired narrative, it proves climate change. If an individual value refutes the desired narrative, on the other hand, it should no longer be meaningful, as it is actually about average values. This would be like a climate skeptic simply answering warmest year on record in 2023, but in Boston last summer was actually quite cool. No one would come up with this far too simple, almost absurdly stupid idea. In contrast, the supporters of man-made climate change use any single piece of data to support their narrative. Another problem, of course, is how the sociology of people's attention and therefore the media's works. If the world were really covered objectively in this respect, there would have to be tens of thousands of non-record measurements for every record measurement. Alarm! Hottest summer ever in the Grand Canyon should actually be flanked by tens of thousands of other news items. Shock! Normal temperatures in Florida again! Or, this is how the average winter surprises people in Chicago. But since humans don't work like that, it's clear that we are always being driven towards more record-breaking news. The example of the US states shows particularly well how absurd the reporting on the temperature records is. Last summer, the German newspaper Tagesspiegel reported, a so-called heat dome has formed over the south of the USA, an area of high pressure that traps the heat in a region like a lid. Heat is the weather phenomenon with the most fatalities in the USA in most years. According to scientists, climate change is making heat waves more frequent, hotter, and longer lasting. Or here at Forbes magazine. US cities have been reeling from a relentless series of blistering heat waves that have not only toppled long-standing daily temperature records this summer, but have brought dangerous, and in some cases deadly, conditions to the south and southwest, with New Orleans, Houston, and Portland, Oregon setting an all-time high temperature record. A well-known saying from statistics, which recently even made it onto TV, is the plural of anecdotes is data. The new super temperatures are reported year after year, so it's rather strange that only 7 of the 50 US states set heat records after the year 2000. All other states recorded their record temperatures in the 20th century, most of them in the first half, by the way. Here you can see the distribution of record temperatures in the US federal states over the last 110 years or so. What is striking is that only 7 of the 50 US states had their highest temperatures after the year 2000 and 23 states after 1950. All other states had their maximum measured temperature before 1950. The extreme temperatures simply do not indicate climate change, but of course they do not rule out climate change either. In real climate research, nobody does this either, and reference is mainly made to average temperatures, trends, or climate models, which of course also have their weaknesses. Nevertheless, the media and proponents of man-made climate change are only too happy to use the high individual temperatures to support their own motives. Here you can see a report in the German Süddeutsche newspaper about climate change gawking, a trend in which tourists travel to places where they can gawk at climate change on the basis of temperatures and take their selfies. Last year, mainly to the Grand Canyon, as you can see here. By the way, the record temperatures of Death Valley in California, which are felt to be reached every year, were not in the last record summer or in 2016 or 11, but in 1913, when it was 57 degrees Celsius, 3 degrees above last year's record temperatures. But there were no climate change gawkers back then. If you enjoyed our video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel.